So the first dimension now of the heart's intelligence is unity. This is the primary awareness that there is but one source, one power, which is the unifying force in all life. This awareness affirms the one spirit, reveals the wisdom of the ages, and provides insights into the larger order of things. Through respect for unity, one comes to understand the patterns of cause and effect that permeate all of existence. The intelligence of the heart reveals cause and effect to be a greater deal than linear consequences. An action that's good for the whole may be repaid in an entirely different manner and in a way that's also good for the receiver. Where unity is supreme, there's nothing more adaptable than goodness. Just as water seeks its level, so too goodness seeks its application. God can redirect into some form of goodness even actions which were intended for harm. Unity is also the source of intelligence, for it grants the ability to integrate knowledge and to correctly define priorities. That's the beginning of wisdom. Integration is the principle of successful thinking and living. Without priorities, there can be no focus in life and no values. Now, this translates into higher intelligence when you understand that there are core issues in everyone's life relating to dominance. Dominance is always an issue in the world. Competition hinges on the problem of dominance, often resulting in business or military conflict. In personal lives, there are endless battles for position. These things are easy to see, but unfortunately, competition for dominance is not limited to the obvious. Food cravings and other addictive compulsions are simply competing with natural functions and striving for dominance. The list is endless. Until one allows God to be the unifying force in life, there's nothing else capable of ending the chaos of competition. All addictions and compulsions are the results of false dominance and surrogate powers. Perhaps the greatest dominance of all is that of manufactured identities, to which a person themselves has suspended their rights. Such identities are very addictive. It is false dominance that has led you astray, buried your time, your hopes, your dreams, and your love. Without false dominance, you have infinite wisdom at your fingertips and the time in which to use it. In the presence of unity, which is God, the One, the Supreme, you have all the power you need to fulfill your life and existence. So once I rest in unity, I know that all resources are there for me. When I lack that intelligence of unity, then I'm separate. And I'm always trying to catch up. I'm always trying to become whole. I'm always trying to make up for my less than, my not enough of. When I have the intelligence of unity, I rest in that confidence that what I need will always be given to me. Not immediately. Yes, I will go through struggles and trials and crise de foi, as they say in French, the crisis of faith. All these things will happen to me, but if I rest in the intelligence of oneness, I know that this too will pass. When I don't, I'm always fighting life or death. So we're going to look at false dominance issues in our lives and the fears and the truths behind them. So let's look at handout 4. We're all going to complete this now. I've done this already, and I'll give you examples for me because it might not be immediately evident what this is about, but I think with my examples it will. So a false dominance I've had within myself is that my role as a teacher hides my fear and vulnerability at times, preventing me from getting help. So, in other words, my role of teacher tries to dominate the fact that, oh, I'm scared at times. I need help, but oh no, I've got to keep that role as teacher and look like I got all the answers. The fear underneath that is if I show doubt and fear, I'm not going to respect myself. Now, underneath that fear is a truth that comes back to unity. The loving truth underneath that is I am one with my source, and I respect that my having human doubts and fears is part of my life path and part of the love that I am. Second area, a false dominance that I have had with others is those who I admire are more confident and competent than I am. So, in other words, I am seeing myself dominated by my projections of others being better than me. The fear is that others' skills are going to diminish my worth just by comparison. The loving truth under that is that in honoring my unique talents, resources, and covenant with Creator, it allows me to enjoy others as my equals in developing their talents. So in other words, when I'm one with Source and can honor, okay, I've gotten certain things that you don't have, and you've got certain things I don't have, but I am confident in the things that I do have are there to help me live my purpose. And your talents are there to help you live yours. The third one is a false dominance I've had with the world is. So here, I might say, the world has put me in situations in which I'm not in control of my political, social, and economic freedoms. A great one that is passed in the social media, because it gets a lot of fear going. The fear is I'm controlled by the selfish interests of those in power. This can zap a lot of energy on a daily basis. What is the loving truth? My oneness with Source, which is the ultimate power, provides me with all the resources I need to live my purpose in happiness and fulfillment. Fears are going to come along to make it look like it's being taken away from me. I have to come back to know that if I rely on the truth and the Source underneath, I have all I need and will never be given more than I can handle. So I'm going to ask you now, do this inventory. And you'll note that when I wrote it, I put all these statements in the past tense rather than affirming the validity of them right now. For example, a false dominance I've had is, rather than a false dominance I have is. That's technique that we never reinforce the negative. Okay? So take handout 4, releasing false dominance, and complete the 3 sections instinctively from your heart. Use blank paper if you don't have a printout of the handout. And don't overthink, but listen to the wisdom of your core and keep breathing easily as you do it. You're going to have 4 or 5 minutes to complete this now. Let's do this together. Okay, I'm going to ask you to come back to the video now. And even though you may not have completed that handout, we're going to have a week to do these completions and discuss these things. So let's meditate on the principle of unity when we're in the heart and declare that Source is the one and the only power that may determine our lives. The more we open ourselves to this awareness, the less other things will have the ability to control us. God's power will then translate to us through the heart that we may have command of our lives.